This is the Ron Pertee Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the program. Today we have another fantastic guest. I know everybody was clamoring for last week. Well, you're going to be extra, double, triple clamoring for this week's episode. I have to give a big shout out to my friend JJ McCullough, owner of McCullough's Pub, because if it wasn't for him taking cell phone footage video on his Facebook of my next guest, I would have never known anything about him. And I can't get enough now. So, I want to thank JJ first and foremost. We'll be seeing more about JJ later on in the program. But without any further ado, he is a rapper, a beatboxer, a producer. He is part of the Venom symbiote, apparently. Ladies and gentlemen, Carnage the Executioner. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, no problem, no problem. So are you a comic book fan?
A little bit. When I was younger, I was more into it. Excuse me, but when I got into hip hop, that just kind of took over everything. So there wasn't a whole lot of room for a lot of other stuff. I used to also be into video games and stuff like that, but hip hop just kind of like it demanded all my attention. So, when Transformers went out of style because I was too old to play with those, then it was hip hop. So,
Transformers never go out of style.
Well, they don't, but like, playing with them and having them be part of your whole personality kind of, once I turned 13, 14, it was like, I probably should try something else.
Hey, there's hip hop and women.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not ashamed to tell people that I cried when Optimus died in the movie.
Well, I probably would have cried if I was able to see it in the movie theaters.
Oh, I bawled I saw it when it came to home video because I was still, I think because the first movie I ever saw in theaters was Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay.
That's 4.
So
I'm like, I didn't get any of the jokes.
Oh yeah, because it's not for kids.
No, not at all.
Like The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, cool, a cartoon. I'll get what they're saying in 20 years.
Yep. Now you get it. You're like, oh, there's a whole lot of innuendo and stuff going on in there.
I didn't realize that Venkman was almost date raping Dana Barrett, but
he was
teetering that line.
It's funny. Recently, I saw somebody post on it. They were like, Ghostbusters is super rapey, and I thought about it they showed her like all, whatever demon she had turned into. I think it was like she had gotten all.
Yeah, she was Zool.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, this is not. And I was like, yeah, back then they could get away with that, but
not now.
No, they couldn't make that now and get away with
Cancel the Ghostbusters quick.
Right. But
now, you mentioned when you were like 13, 14, that's when you got into hip hop. Is that around the time you had left Chicago?
Well, okay, so I actually got into hip hop a little earlier, but I started getting into actually participating in it when I was 12, 13.
Okay.
I left Chicago when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Like I moved to Minnesota when I was like, probably about 5. So I had been in Minnesota for quite some time. Born in Chicago but raised in Minnesota.
Okay, because I know I can only imagine how things would have been if you had been older in Chicago and then you moved to Minnesota, like the culture shock.
Yeah, it would have been totally crazy.
Yeah, it had to have been ridiculous. And that's the thing, a lot of people who aren't in the know don't realize that there is quite the hip hop scene in Minnesota.
There's a big hip hop scene in Minnesota. I would actually say it used to be bigger.
Right.
But COVID kind of smashed a few things. And then, some other things that, if they become part of the conversation, we can talk about it. But we have a huge hip hop scene, hip hop history in Minnesota. I'll say that.
I don't know if I'm ever going to bring up the Rhymesayers being canceled, but anyway, that's besides the point.
That was what I was, but that's their story. That's all of our story here.
You know what really sucks though is I love POS, and I love like the whole that whole scene, and because it kind of like being in the Midwest, it feels like it's yours. Because it's like the stuff in New York, you can't really identify with it. The stuff in LA, you can't identify with it because you're not going through that. but you can understand where someone from Minnesota is coming from when you live in Wisconsin.
Well, I would challenge that and say, for me, it was more the opposite. I grew up listening to hip hop in a time where there was no Minnesota hip hop.
Right.
So my experience with hip hop started with New York and then moved into California. So by the time hip hop started really making a splash in Minnesota, I was already, I was just getting into doing it myself, but I had understood it so much better coming from the other coasts, because I just didn't have as much access to even local hip hop when I was younger, because local hip hop wasn't played on the radio. So everything I heard was on the radio coming from California, coming from New York. And by the time I realized people were doing music in Minnesota, I had already started, well, I was exposed to Minnesota music more. I was already starting to form my own identity that looked more like what I was hearing on the coasts. Does that make sense?
Fair. Yeah, no, that makes that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. But for somebody like me who grew up with a Def Leppard album that he was given as a gift at one point, and then all of a sudden you hear somebody like a POS, you're just like, oh, okay, I don't quite understand what NWA is talking about,
right?
Because
so I get it.
Yeah, it's a very. So what was your first exposure to hip hop? Like, what was the first song do you remember the first song you ever heard that kind of was like, holy crap?
I mean, like most people, it was probably Sugar Hill Gang. The hop, you don't stop, the whatever the name of that song is. I forgot the name of it now. Rapper's Delight.
Yes, Rapper's Delight. Yes,
Rapper's Delight.
I knew Delight, something Delight, and I was like,
right.
Golden Corral Delight. I don't know.
Yeah, so it was. That was probably the first thing I heard. And of course that was cool because that's what you heard, but it wasn't until I got into until I heard Run DMC that I was like, oh. So I heard Run DMC, then I saw Breakin'.
Okay.
And when I saw Breakin', I was like, oh, DJing. So then I wanted to kind of be a DJ. Around that same time I heard Run DMC, I also heard Herbie Hancock's Rocket. And that was hip hop, that was hip hop. That was Herbie Hancock being a jazz musician going into the culture of hip hop, the very new culture. And the DJ aspect again was what grabbed me. So it was probably, I would say around the same time I was being exposed, I heard Rapper's Delight, but that just kind of got thrown out of the window once I heard Run DMC and Herbie Hancock's Rocket. So that started to forge my identity.
And I'm sure hearing Run DMC with Aerosmith was probably mind-blowing at the time.
That was a little later because they were before, they had already done It's Like That and That's the Way It Is. Huh. When I heard that, I was like, what is this? This is crazy.
Right.
But I was hella young, so I didn't really understand exactly what I was hearing. I just really
liked it.
Yes, I liked the intensity. I liked the for lack of a better term, the manliness of the voices. Because I didn't have a father figure. A lot of these musicians, male musicians I was listening to became part of the identity I started to forge for myself. And funny to say, and I said this one time to one of my friends. He was a jerk, but you would probably understand this. Optimus Prime was one of my first male role models.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah,
because he stood up for what he believed in, and he, even though he was a robot, as Zoidberg says on Futurama, he still had morals, and he fought for what was right and just. And a lot of kids who are in, like, my mom and dad got divorced when I was super young. So I looked to TV and I looked to movies for people to kind of guide the way. And I totally get what you mean by Optimus Prime being a father figure. Totally.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Plus he could drive you places and he couldn't really say no.
Exactly.
He can't really say no.
He was the strongest, per capita, he was the strongest Transformer. Like, well, he was the strongest Autobot, at least. Even the bigger guys were said to not be as strong as Optimus Prime because they didn't have leadership skills like that. But so yeah, look at us getting into the story of Transformers, which I am like, I know like the back of my hand.
Hey, there's nothing. We can deep dive Transformers all you want, man.
That's a whole nother episode, bro.
That is a whole other episode. That is something completely different. But no,
shit. Look at us.
I remember my grandma used to watch me a lot, and she wouldn't let me watch G.I. Joe because
I like G.I. Joe too.
She thought people were being killed, and I'm like, Grandma, they're robots. Do you really think Cobra's gonna put real people in line, knowing G.I. Joe's just gonna fuck up their day? No.
But the first time we really saw a character die was in G.I. Joe. Remember when Duke got killed?
Yes, that was the movie, wasn't it? Serpentor had something to do with it.
Yep, Serpentor like he threw the snake at him.
Yep.
It stuck in his heart. Yep, so I remember that.
The 80s were messed up, man.
There was that, but then remember, let's go up a little further. See, you know what? I wasn't as big of a comic book fan, but I was a cartoon fan.
Right.
I had because I was poor, man. I didn't have access to a lot of stuff that a lot of people
we were poor too, and I would get like maybe one comic book a month. That was it.
Exactly.
And that's back when it was like $2.
Exactly. Yeah, I had to have what was at home that like I could just turn on the TV and get, so I became a super aficionado of cartoons. And do you remember Robotech?
I do remember Robotech.
So Robotech, I think people actually died in Robotech. I think that might have
wasn't that a Japanese manga first, wasn't it?
Yep.
And they didn't care over there. They'll kill people. Because that reminds me of Voltron. And
there's all from the same,
And then there's the Transformers Light, the GoBots.
The GoBots. Yep.
And do you remember Mask?
I was just about to say Mask. Mask was dope.
Mask was so cool.
But Mask was only on channel 23. I don't know what channel it was for you, but it was on like the off channel here. You had to have like the special antenna to get it.
Well, that was the one thing. Is because whenever I'd watch it, I was waiting to meet my grandparents, and my mom was broke, but my grandparents were loaded, and they had HBO and all this other stuff. Like that's how I saw the Indiana Jones movies. They had them all on VHS tape, and I'd wear the fucker out, and I'd wear it out because I'd skip past Temple of Doom because I'm like, I don't like Temple of Doom. Let's get to the guy with the one with the old man because that one's great.
You're right.
And then of course I get into James Bond, and that's a whole other story. But I'd watch. I remember Mask, and then I remember I had
Mask was great.
A car that turned into a shit like a plane. I had that, and it was just oh my god, this is
vans and even like the concept of the mask itself was just cool.
Right.
And their logo, the mask logo was dope as hell. Yeah, the mask was dope, and then remember there was of course there was Thundercats and Silverhawks.
Yep. Oh, I had the Silverhawks. I had all of them. And you'd squeeze the figure's leg, and their arms would pop up, and the wings would come out.
Yep.
Oh, that was so. Oh my god.
Yeah, so we can go.
I feel like a child again,
bro. How old are you? Are we the same age?
I'm 42.
Okay, I'm 40. I just turned 47. So yeah,
see, we're not that far off.
No,
there's
not
a lot
at
of
all.
We're both Gen X.
Yes.
And we both don't care about a lot of crap. But if you fuck with our Transformers, we got something to say.
If you fuck with our robots and our cartoons, you ain't.
That's right.
So then there was also do you remember Inhumanoids?
Yeah, vaguely.
It was short-lived, very short-lived. But the thing about Inhumanoids is people were dying on Inhumanoids too. It was like it was like the one. It was like go on YouTube and look at old Inhumanoid clips. They don't have very many, but there's some on there. And I was watching recently. They were talking about. There was a guy talking about the significance of Inhumanoids because it was made by the same, it was made by Hasbro. It was in that same Takara, that whole around that same time. And he was talking about how like it was super dark compared to every other cartoon. Like people were actually dying. People were like, there was one of the monsters where he ate somebody and you could see the person decomposing in his chest, in his stomach.
See, I'd love to watch that now. That'd be great.
Well, yeah, now, we can, for cartoons. See, that's the crazy thing. Like the movies can't be as crazy as they used to be, but the cartoons can be. People
Oh,
aren't
100%,
people ain't
100%.
canceling cartoons, but they're canceling the movies.
Right.
So
right,
now
right.
back then they couldn't, like, Inhumanoids got a lot of flack because it was so dark. So it didn't last very long.
Well, that's like, you remember the show
syndicated.
Dinosaurs, right?
Yes, I do. Very
You
vaguely.
can't. You could not make the last episode of that show ever again. The way that series ended, you could not do that again. That was the darkest thing in television ever.
It's crazy.
Everybody dies.
Crazy, bro.
And that was a Jim Henson thing, for crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly. Look what he turned into. He was like, man, I can't do this shit no more. I'm gonna do Muppet Babies.
I love the Muppet Babies, though.
Me
'cause it was on
too.
Saturday morning.
Muppet
See,
Babies.
yep. See,
there was Muppet Babies, and then there was of course, I loved Flintstones.
yes.
People sleep on the Flintstones. Flintstones were dope. Jetsons were cool. But like Flintstones and Tom and Jerry. Those were my cartoons. Tom and Jerry and Flintstones, outside of Transformers being my favorite of all times, were two of my other not as violent favorites. Although Tom and Jerry's pretty fucking violent.
Yes, it is. What's really fucked up, though, is you and I are both big Transformers fans, and now the big villain in the Transformers movie is now the big villain in the world right now, Omicron.
Yeah, a Unicron.
Unicron. I don't care. It's the same thing. Orson Welles come back to fuck us up.
But hold up. There was a character in Transformers named Omicron.
I'll take it.
It was Omicron, and if I remember correctly, Omicron is credited as the creator of Unicron. He was the one who made Unicron. Do you have your phone handy?
I do.
Look up Omicron and in Transformers and see if it comes up. If my history is serving me correctly, I think that was the guy's name. Maybe. I remember there being an Omicron somewhere. Is that coming up?
Apparently we're all wrong.
What?
It's not a Transformer. Wait, hold on. No, I guess he is. He's a Decepticon. Loyal, hardworking Decepticon who's respectful yet not afraid to challenge authority. He will do whatever is necessary. No, that does. I mean, it sounds like it's like extended universe, like it happened after the movie.
Hold up.
Oh, here we go. This is where we get geeky.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
I love it.
I don't know. This is where people might turn it off.
No, this is where all the numbers are just going to go skyrocket, unless they're tuning in because they want to hear you talk about hip hop, and then they're like,
"We're gonna do that too." But
we'll get there. We'll get there.
We're gonna do that too. Omicron, Transformers. I swear, man, Transform. There was a guy.
Rona in disguise.
Omicron. 86. 5 years ago, Unicron, creator of. See, yes, I we can keep talking, but I feel like the guy who I want to say Unicron, the guy who created Unicron was called Omicron. I thought I read that somewhere.
Well, let's go with that's the way it is, and then we'll let the people in the comments.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
The people in the comments will correct us. And the fact that they even comment is a good sign. It means they watch the video. Anyway.
Let's go.
So, Transformers leads to hip hop.
Yes.
I mean, at what point did you start? Because you do a lot of like live recordings and stuff like that. Was that something that happened right away, or did you have to wait for technology to kind of catch up to it? Or
I was not recording right away. What I was doing was I didn't do my first homemade recordings until I was about 14, 15 years old, where I wrote a couple of rhymes and I got 2 radios and put them near each other. One radio was playing the instrumental for Public Enemy's song Security of the First World, off of the best hip-hop record to ever be released and arguably one of the best albums ever produced, Public Enemy's It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back.
Okay.
So that album had an instrumental song called Security of the First World. And I wrote like four 16-bar verses or 4 hella long verses to this beat. And what I would do was I would play the beat on one radio and then record myself rapping to the beat playing on the other radio.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this radio over here is playing the beat, and I'm here in between that radio and another one that was right here that was catching the recording of me rapping to the beat that was playing. So that's how I did it. And I did what I would call a pause tape, where when I was done rapping, I would stop the beat and then I would rewind it and then start the recording over again with a new rhyme to keep the song going.
Okay.
So that was my first playing around with recording experience when I was about 14 years old, making myself demo tapes where I had rhymes that I had written in school or whatever that I would record for myself. And I think I still have that what I would call my first demo tape. I still have that somewhere in my garage.
Put that out, man. People gotta hear that.
I don't know. I did. You know what I did do? I did do a song called off my Respect the Name album. You actually took that song off of there and put that on a playlist. The first song on the album is called T Swift Was Here.
Okay.
And my first real rap name was T Swift, as in Terrell Swift. Terrell was a fast rapper. And in that song, I go into the history of when I started rapping, when I first started getting into hip hop, how I wanted to be a DJ, what it was like to, experience beatboxing and then move into writing rhymes. And I have a part where the song breaks down and I say, you don't want to hear a little part of the first rhyme I ever wrote? And then a beat comes in and I say the rhyme that one of the first rhymes I wrote to the beat that I actually wrote it to on that song. So it's like just a little section. So go back and listen to T Swift Was Here and you'll be able to hear a couple of my first rhymes I ever wrote.
And don't forget, everybody, you're obviously watching this before the New Year's show, which there will be I guess we'll do the finger quote performance by Carnage the Executioner there. I have a very cool quote unquote celebrity to introduce you as well, because I do have people that I reach out to and they but you'll have to wait until Friday to see who that is, and you're gonna have to wait till deep into the show, folks, because this is a bona fide musician here, and he's going on late because he's you don't blow your wad right away. I mean, come on. But no, it's so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that, but it's gonna be a fantastic show on New Year's. Now, I was supposed to ask you something.
Oh, okay.
I was by a mutual friend of ours. Also, thank you for enjoying our Blue Bear.
Blue Bear is the shit.
I've never been there.
What?
I've never been there. I live on the other side of town, and I don't have a car right now, and I can't drive because my foot's in a giant boot.
Oh,
and it's on my right foot, so even if I had one, I couldn't do it anyway. And they're always open when I'm working, so because they got the weird hours. But I've heard nothing but amazing things, and I'm just glad that you enjoyed something from our fair city.
Yes, your city is cool.
That's
no
okay.
doubt.
I mean, we got McAuliffe's. And we got I'm really upset that you couldn't check out Long Shot Vinyl. They weren't open at the time.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to check them out.
They Jada would have loved you. But so now but our mutual friend wanted me to ask you about your connection to Northside Racinians Gorilla Ghost.
Oh, that's my family.
Yeah, those I love those. I've known. Do I call him Martin or do I call him? I'm gonna call him Marty. I've known Marty since I was 15. So it's and we've been all the whole Racine, North Racine, and South Milwaukee has been this giant scene for years. But so how did you get hooked up with Gorilla Ghost?
Well, it all started with Marty.
You're still looking up about Omicron, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm done now. Okay. Marty was working in the art department for Uprising Records.
Right.
which is a label that a group from Madison who I was associated with, The Crest, were on. And I ended up being on that album, their debut album on Uprising.
Mhm.
And if I remember correctly, Marty contacted me, and said, I'm the guy that's doing the artwork for this record. And I just wanted to, connect with you. And I like what you did on the record, so on and so forth. So him and I had talked about him doing some artwork for me, but then he told me he made beats. So he sent me, I was like, send me some shit. And he sent me a few beats and they were heavy, like some heavy ass shit. And I was like, okay, this reminds me of what I like about Run DMC.
Right.
I'm going to stay in contact with this dude. One of the beats that he sent me was one that I held on to forever, and it ended up making my 2016 album finally. The song is called Hecatome Cometh, and he produced the original version of that and gave me that beat, I would say in maybe 2005 or something, and I ended up using it like in 2016.
Oh wow.
So I held on to it, and I always knew I wanted to use it because it was a good beat. And sometimes that happens to me. I'll get a beat and I really like it, and it takes me a few years to actually get on it and do something with it, because I don't rush things. I kind of do it the way they feel good. And the right song came around for that beat when I was making my Minnesota Mean album, and I used his beat. So that's how we stayed connected. Was we met through the record label, and then he sent me some beats, and then we just stayed in contact online mostly. And when I heard about him, starting the group with Ghost, Bad Graphics Ghost is the whole name. When I heard him starting the group with that guy, and the sound was similar, I was just like, well, let's just stay connected and let's do some stuff.
Right.
Long story short, I was building the crew Hecatome up and trying to put some new blood into it, and I asked Gorilla Ghost if they wanted to be in the squad, and they said yes. So now they're part of my Hecatome family, and we've done a few songs together. We've done more shows together than we've done songs, but we've known each other for a very long time, myself and Marty. And I think we've done more in the past together, technically in the past 3 years, than we have in the whole time we've known each other, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, Corona had to have helped. I mean, I know, as bad as it sounds, had to have helped the creative process a little bit, because you're able to just focus on getting stuff done. And with technology the way it is, he can send you stuff. You can do what you do, and just like create magic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the only good things about coronavirus is, and then me getting some of the people I've had on my show during coronavirus, because they're like, I got nothing else going on. Yeah, but I guess I'll throw the fat guy from Wisconsin a bone. It's like, could you throw me the sandwich instead? That'd be great.
No, hey, you know what? Your logo is dope. I was gonna tell you that.
Thank you very much.
Whoever did that, they did a good job. Was that Marty?
I got it on Fiverr.
Oh, for real? That shit's dope.
Yeah, and what's funny is my brother was going to bed. He's like, "Why are you wearing your jean jacket?" I'm like, "I got to stay on brand."
Yeah. No,
you
you're
got to
killing
stay
it.
on brand.
You're killing it.
I mean, I'm not going to wear the black shirt. I'm sweating enough. But, you got to stay on brand. And,
that only affects you. The black shirt only affects you if you're in the sun, though, right?
Well, I'm a big fat guy, though, so black shirts affect me no matter what. I mean, come on. I mean, and that's the thing about being a big guy, is I go outside and I'm like, oh, it's 20 degrees outside. I'm not going to, nope, I'm sweating.
Well, I'm a big guy too. I'm wearing black. I wear black a lot. It's my favorite color. So.
Oh, it's mine too. But, it's just, I mean, I stopped wearing jeans. I'm wearing like chinos and stuff, and dress pants and t-shirts.
Stepping up your game too. I am too.
The older you get, man, you got to be like, look, I see all these little punks out here with their TikToks and their it's like, whatever.
Nah,
do your thing. I got this.
Ours.
I know what style is.
Right.
Kiss
right.
my ass. But we're gonna. I know there's so much more I'd like to cover, but I know we don't have you for too long, and then this actually gives me an excuse to have you back on some other time.
We got to do this again. Our chemistry is on point.
It is. So we're gonna take a quick break, And when we come back, we're going to I'm going to play the show stealer video, and then we're going to wrap this up. And so we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, what do you got there, buddy?
Oh, hey guys, it's my new hooded sweatshirt from McCullough's Pub. Yeah, they're selling them, keep the doors open till we're all ready to go back. And they're just $40, so I grabbed one.
I don't know. I have the money, but I was thinking of buying $40 worth of jelly beans.
But that's just crazy talk. These are way better than jelly beans.
Oh, right, they're better than jelly beans. How? How are they better than jelly
I'll tell
beans?
Ya. A new hooded sweatshirt you got from McCullough's will make you look awesome in front of all of the people you love. Even ones that you hate will say,
You're still a jerk, but your sweatshirt looks great.
with a new hooded sweatshirt, your life will be swell.
But what if I don't have one?
Then you're going to hell.
Hold on now, that seems harsh. I don't think I buy it.
Oh, really, my friend? Then just go on and try it.
I am living in a world of misery in which I decline to purchase a McCullough's hooded sweatshirt. It is a world of fire and ash. Great beasts stalk the night, and the eye of the elder god has cracked open and turned to cast its malevolent gaze upon us.
A new hooded sweatshirt is what keeps us hoping.
Keep the gates of hell closed.
And keep the doors open.
I'll get one today.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, did we mention that it had a hood?
Carnage the execution. Yet another installment of public execution. Live performance and recording. One take, no edits, no bullshit. This one is called Attack of the Show Stealer.
Show you why I get invited to do shows with even bigger artists and they don't invite me back, because I steal the show. And it won't stop and it won't quit. Carnage is the ultimate. Y'all can get props and shine bright on my night. Hopeless. Only when you might appear good before wit and after me don't spit. Rock 'em for retirement, home ages too early bedtimers make promoters lose faith in worthy headliners. Stunner of crowds wondering how I do what I do. Thunder is loud as though my powers come from the clouds. Brother has vowed that every stage caught going slaughter. Built me for your show as friendly competition, but I guarantee your performance ain't bending my position, because those in attendance are gonna think I walk on water. They always give me respect. Well, what is the nothing like about C3XL? Your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. Hardest working artist earning money with no deal. Your limelight taker, the show stealer. You being better than me at what I do will not happen. You good, but watch out. Carnage is all about spot snatching. Hit the stage after me, you won't even get a cheer. Hit the stage before me, then forget you were ever here. They be like, why you so cocky, bro? It's not cocky, it's confidence in what I do. Check it out, here it goes. Need a track or some instruments, you can rent me. The heroic one-man band, human MPC. My loop station is not a crutch, not unless coming with sound. Reason my mouth got called the best drummer in town. Assuming if you haven't seen me play or heard how I can rock for 2 hours and not even say a word. People thinking beats and vocal scratches are pre-made, confusing plastered across your faces looking for a DJ. Then I see so many didn't know that I could beatbox until they're running from glass and dodging pieces of sheetrock. Walls are cracking, the
salt and batter and light fixtures. Blitzing monitors, bombing the system with mind mixture of bountiful beats and rough rapping. Crushing, bashing, demolishing, coggly up on your first analysis. But watch and listen closer and you see I'm sure and talented. And I don't ever try to steal a show. Damn it just happens. Ha! I'm a fan of old rappers, I'm better than. My beats bang harder than your MP3s. I might have said a band. Hit the stage after me, you won't even get a cheer. Hit the stage before me, they'll forget you were ever here.
All right, everybody, that was Attack of the Show Steer. That was fantastic, sir. I can't get over and shake your hand like on Letterman. But I can applaud from here. Now, that's another thing, is we're old enough that we were there for the end of Carson, but like when Letterman kind of like, and you tuned into Letterman to see what musical act he'd have on. Because he would always have some great ones on.
Oh, yeah, he had the good ones.
Yeah, and it was like, I mean, I love Carson, don't get me wrong, but Letterman, I mean, come on.
Letterman, yep. He was the original.
Yeah, I'm a big Pearl Jam fan. Not that you could tell me wearing a denim jacket and all.
No, I know about that.
Yeah, and having them on there a lot, or the Foo Fighters, who I think are as big as they are criminally underrated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so everybody head over to carnagetheexecutioner.com for all roads lead to there. I mean, if you go there, it takes you to the YouTube, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter. Whatever social media hasn't been invented yet, if you're watching this in the future, it's probably there. So go there. It's got links to everything. You can catch him this Friday night at the Ron Pertee Show New Year's Eve special. It's going to be fantastic. I want to thank you so much for being here. You are more than welcome back anytime, sir.
Oh yeah, we got to do this again, bro.
Oh yes, we definitely do. I'm going to end up like sending you Transformers shit on Facebook now. That's what's going to end up happening.
I'm going to find this story about this Omicron dude, man. Watch. I'm going to send it to you.
You'll find it like, here it is. I told you.
Yep. And then we can come online and talk about it again. But yeah, I hope you got a chance to ask all the questions you want.
I always have more questions because they come up as I'm going through it. I never go in there with a list of questions. I just kind of like read a bunch of stuff and I'm like, there you go, let's do it. But yeah, so thanks again, everybody. Again, check out carnagetheexecutioner.com for everything that you need to know.
That site is actually being updated right now. So it's
perfect.
Yeah, but you know, it's not updated yet. So I would say the best place they can get the most info from me now is Instagram.
Okay, there you go.
Instagram is going to be the most updated.
That's Carnage XXL, right?
No, that's Carnage the Executioner.
Is it okay? Oh, yep. Twitter is Carnage.
Is Carnage XXL. Yep.
See, I know things. I know
things, bro.
I know things. Not a lot of things. Just the important things.
No, like, you know a lot of things, man.
I try. Well, being a big portly fella in bumfuck Wisconsin, it's look. There's an X-Men comic. You know, it's just. I'm
not small either. I sympathize with you.
It's like that fat man kinship. It's really something special.
You know. It's
all right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll see you Saturday at the New Year's Eve special. It's going to be fantastic next week. And that's the thing, is I hate mentioning who's going to be on next week in case something happens. If I haven't recorded the episode yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that could.
Because you never know. So you don't want to. Let's just say my guest next week makes YouTube videos and has asthma. I'll let you go from there. And we'll talk to you all.
Me wondering who it is.
Stick around for 1 second. So we'll see you next week. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.